Today we got a very special day ahead of us. I'm waiting for a thing called the Beast. It's due to come this afternoon, and I'm really looking forward to it. What it is, it's like a Hayabusa weed whacker. Anyway, we'll see if they pick it up, bring it this afternoon. Anyway, I wanted to work on pokey stuff this morning. It's supposed to rain in the afternoon some. Be nice in the morning, so it'll be a good time to get pokey stuff started. Maybe get some color on it or some clear. See how the weather plays out. We have 4 or 5 other little things on the priority list, but getting pokey stuff done right now, I'd like to get it out here and get it drying in the garage before that rain comes. Now, being honest, I always think one of the keys to having a good life, especially a long life, a productive life, is you got to find something you're passionate about. And then once you find a passion, you got to pursue it. Now, Karen has a cousin that has pursued to past my age tennis. And he's very active and he's still in very good shape. And to be honest, I'm jealous. I wish that the activity I picked my passion for was more physical, or maybe it would have kept me in better shape longer. I don't know. This is the thing, you don't know. But I do love working on these old bikes. That's my passion. Now, it doesn't matter what your passion is. If your passion is going fishing, if your passion is hang gliding or whatever. The idea is that you find something you're passionate about and stick with it, and it keeps you busy. And that's what's helped get me through this coronavirus. Now, I always seem to have a lot of trouble conveying to people why I love these old motorcycles. I don't know why. To be honest, if you hypnotize me and force me to say, maybe I'm reliving some childhood that I think I had and I didn't have. That's why I always say, to be honest, I'm not sure. But I know it works for me. Now, and maybe it works for you. I know it works for Luciano. I know it works for other people, at Mark Morgan. I know there's something about it. But the thing to always keep in mind is motorcycles are like a buffet. Some people like touring bikes. Some people like trials bikes. Some people like dirt bikes. Some people like show bikes that you never even ride or start the engine, or some of them don't even have a crankshaft in a motor. No matter what part of it that you enjoy, the trick is pursue it. It's a passion. And in my case, I have a very clear, definitive thing of what I like. I like the motorcycles to be old, but not so old that they're not fun to ride or I can't get parts. So that limits me. It limits me really to the time when I was younger and had my wayward youth. I had these motorcycles when they were new, and I had several of each. So to me, that's my little part of the buffet. But I understand everybody's got a different part of the buffet. Some people run over and they want to have a touring bike and go cross country. Wow, I'm jealous. I wish I had the time. I wish I had the lifestyle that I could do things like that. I know some of my friends, some of my very close friends, ride dirt bikes, and all they want to do is ride dirt bikes. And I did that for many years, and then my body gave out. It gave out sooner than I wanted it to also. But the whole point, I was passionate about it. It kept me busy. It kept me active. It kept me from becoming a barfly or becoming a, I don't know what, homeless, I guess is another choice. But anyway, there's something, and I always try to explain it in every video, something about old things when you can bring them back to life, or even keep them from getting so old that you don't even enjoy them. There's something about it. And I know people like Dale have a museum. They have an interest in like 1902 Indians. Well, when we went to the museum, I was blown away by how good that is. But the problem is, if I had an 02 Indian, I couldn't ride it every day. And part of my passion is I want to ride the wheels off the bikes. And bikes that are very old, not so sure you can do that. But I know this bike collection that I've established, I have one bike from every 10-year era. And they're all basically bikes you can get on and go right to the edge of the tire without a problem. So, and this of course is always the poster child for I want to have fun, 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 until Luciano takes the T-Bird away. This is the poster child. Now, it actually was harder than I thought it would be when I originally put the collection together. And Luciano helped me every step of the way. But getting a bike from every 10-year era, it's not as easy as you think it is. And then to restore them all, maintain them all, and the biggest, most important thing of all is to get them that you can ride the wheels off them. That is the #1 priority. So I also enjoy that if every day that goes by I can get one more part polished, one more part painted,
something upgraded, something repaired. What happens is the bikes stay in very, very well maintained condition, and they're reliable. They're on a battery tender, and then when that beautiful sunny day comes, or that freezing cold day, they're ready to go. So I've rambled long enough this morning. It's time to feed the fish, have some coffee, feed the birds, and get started on Pokie's project. Now, a little tidbit of information here. We had a frost warning yesterday, and I thought for sure when I came out here this morning all my little zinnias were going to be gone. It looks like most of them made it. Maybe not all of them, but most of them made it through the frost. And we actually had a couple, just a few snowflakes. Wow. No, a lot of them made it. But that's one of the joys of watching your children grow. It looks cloudy, and it's not supposed to rain for a couple of hours, so later in the day. So I think we're going to get some painting done today. But you can see the indoor zinnias that are on our back porch. They have grown much faster, and of course nothing freezes inside the house here. So these are all keepers. I also planted, that's why the pencil is in this pot, I also planted some marigold seeds. So as a farmer, I have a Suzuki, a Honda, a marigold, and a I'm not sure what. Oh, it's that magic time of day. We got to get ready, have a cup of coffee, and make a plan for the day. Now, yesterday morning we had a rabbit visit us. I didn't have the camera on at the time, but we do have a picture of him now. Who took that picture? Stacy?
Stacy.
Stacy. So he went from our house to Stacy's house. So we spent, on a previous video, we spent basically a whole day and a whole gallon of Jasco paint remover. We buffed out the hardware, buffed out the gas cap. We have some new stickers for the parts. The emblems are all cleaned up. We set up the bodywork. We've got to do some 4CR today. There's some Bondo areas here. And the primer's been drying a couple days, so that's ready for silver. So we're going to try to sequence this up. Now I can feel there's a dent right here. So I'm going to mix up a little Bondo before I do anything and try to look around and find all the spots. I know there's some on the other side too that might need some Bondo, because I really want, when something is silver, it shows that everybody that builds a model plane knows you always paint the model plane silver to find the mistakes. Well, on the motorcycle, it finds the mistakes. If you leave it that way, you see them. It's like black. It shows all the mistakes. So on a job like this where we're down at bare metal, and this is really a good trick, this is a good tip, I got this tip from John Pothier. Always put a clean rubber glove on, and you can go over this and you'll find things you can't see, because when it's all scuffed up like this, and we're going to do, of course, hand sand this out some more, but I'm looking, I want to find this. Oh, right here. Okay, so what it is, I can see what it looks like, two little dents. You know, that's going to be a spot right there. Doesn't really matter, I'll remember that. But you really, there's a spot right here. But you really have to use your hands with a rubber glove to find these spots early on. Because then we're going to hand sand the whole tank down, of course, before we prime it. And then you'll see, if you miss a spot, you got to go back and do the Bondo over where once here's another spot right here. So we basically have three areas, but you can never be too fussy, because the earlier on you can find a little spot, the less filler you wind up putting in it. And I was real careful to get the wire brush under that gas cap, because if that paint, when you put gas on a bike, if some of the paint gets in there and it starts peeling, this whole job is for nothing. Anyway, okay, so we have three things to Bondo. Now, I've been using the 4CR product for a couple of years now. This is glass filled. It's really a lot more expensive than the Bondo you buy in AutoZone, but boy, it sands a lot easier and it never cracks so far. And I put this stuff to the test. So there's always a good, I want to get a piece of cardboard here. There's always a good, you want to stir this up just a little bit. I wanted to show this. A lot of times the chemicals in it, yeah, I can see this is, some of them, because we haven't used this in a while. And I don't think we did any work on the Ninja Restoration, which hopefully we'll be finished very soon if we ever get rid of this virus. Wow. Thank you to those healthcare heroes. Now, one of the tricks to mixing Bondo I found is never mix more than you need, because you almost always have to put a second coat on. I do anyway. Of course, I'm sloppy probably. But if you mix a smaller amount than you think you need, it's not a big deal to go back and get it to bond over again. Now, another trick, and these are not tricks, they're just common sense. The hardener that comes with it, you always have to knead it. It always, chemically, I don't know what it does, it's polyester resin. So, and of course it has this atrocious smell that usually Karen comes down here and throws a plate at me or something while I'm doing this, but she's not going to do that today. She appreciates my help with getting through this virus. Anyway, we will thank her later. She's up there cooking. Okay, so we put a little bit of hardener, not real critical. If you're wrong, not enough is better than too much, of course. Take our little trowel. Mix it up till you can't see the colors. You don't want to see that pink anywhere, and it's always a good idea to mix it just a little bit more than you think you need to. That's always a great idea, in fact. So, I wanted to thank Pokey again. Pokey's one of the original people of the original A-Team, and he's several times helped me sell things on eBay or buy things or get the forks on the FCR, just one example of something. He was able to help me purchase them. Luciano found them. He helped me purchase them. He sold some tables we had, a stove. It's not a table, it's a stove. So I'm more than happy to return the favor, even though this is a real ass-breaking job. I don't even know if he watches the videos, but it doesn't matter. We'll charge him the same price. Okay, so what we want to do, we see those two little areas? I want to make sure I put on more than I need, because this will sand right off. And I can sand it outside where I won't make a mess in the house. It's not critical to make it flat. When you make it flat, because there is this tiny amount of shrinkage. Let me get some on here. This is the other spot. Okay. And of course, all the information we try to share in a video, basic stuff. And I know there are people that they're skilled in a lot of ways, machine shop work or whatever, and they always have trouble with Bondo. I don't know why. Or with CA or with whatever. Anyway, now, trick is give that 15 minutes to dry. If it were a sunny day, we'd put it out in the sun. Then we want to take our little power sander and get the whole tank whistle clean, ready for that primer. Okay, so while that's drying, I wanted to take our little Harbor Freight tool, get a brand new piece of sandpaper on it. Now, I noticed one thing, truth in advertising, I've used this a lot, but the pad itself is starting to wear out. But there's a workaround, and what I've done is just take a little bit of hot glue, just a tiny amount, because it's the tip that actually wears out, of course. Or when you're doing it, there's nothing to stop you when you're doing this kind of Bondo. You just put it on backwards, and it doesn't know that the end is there. So you get a lot more value out of the sandpaper. That is a good tip, by the way. Now, I don't throw these old ones away, because there's sometimes, and an example of what I would use that for is if we're stripping paint off something where I'm just going to clog up the sandpaper right away, I can use up those old sandpapers. But I want to get a brand new pad, and of course these all come from Harbor Freight. I want to get a brand new one. They come all different grits. I thought I'd show this for people haven't. There's an 80, an 80, and two 100s, and I've already used the 120. So I want to use the 80 for what I'm doing right now. And what I want to do is, the idea here is I want to sand the Bondo, but I want to get the surface preparation to be scratched. Because here's the thing, and it's a small thing, but it really counts. That steel, when we stripped it, I think it was 2 days ago, maybe it was 3 days ago, I don't remember. That steel has been exposed to the air, so it's going to have a tendency already to have built up some oxidation. I don't want to bury oxidation. I want to sand the part and almost immediately prime it. And that is a critical thing if you want to have a top quality job that's going to last. And if you don't want that kind of work, you get a can of Rust-Oleum and paint it in your living room. But I don't like to do work that isn't the best I can do. So I'm putting extra time and effort into this. And I hope when we're done, we have a really, really nice looking gas tank. Now, because my normal painting table is now a zinnia growing table, and normally we don't do painting in the summer unless it's an emergency basis. Like for Vlad, when he had some track day, or Glenn, I prefer to paint in the winter and farm in the summer and ride. So I don't have a table. What I do have, I had a garbage can, and I took the air conditioner cover and just put some bungee cords around it. And I guess we're going to have to go to war with the army we have. So I wanted to show, when you have these little, I call them little dents, it looks like somebody took a little ball peen hammer. I think we got that pretty well, but you won't know until we actually prime it. Okay, the next step is using our little Harbor Freight tool. We're going to go over the whole tank now, and until we get some primer on that Bondo, we don't know how good it's going to be, or if it's going to need some extra primer, some extra dry time. Whatever it needs, we'll do it. But to get this all sanded now, that'll get the whole surface prepped with brand new scratches. That steel will be fresh, and we're going to get right away get the first coat of primer on it. Now, up to this point, we put a lot of prep into this tank. So I'm hoping this first coat of primer, I'm going to wipe this down with prep wool. I want to get the bottom, the inside, the tunnel primed first. Then I'll flip it over, put it on our mat, try to jack it up so I can get underneath there. But not having my work table is a little bit of a handicap. Now, getting the right preparation for a tank. Yeah, I've seen guys just paint right over the old paint, and I know sometimes you get away with that, but you know what? When you don't, it really hurts. It's really 9/11 when it doesn't work. And you got to go back and do the whole thing 3 or 4 times. So I think we're going to be very, very safe here. I want to clean this up. I want to make sure everything is prepped as good as I can possibly make it. Now, the whole thing, when you have raw metal, self-etching primer. Raw metal, self-etching primer. Now, because it's only 40 degrees out, I want to give that, I normally would give it 20 minutes to dry. I'm going to give it a lot more than that, probably 45 minutes, because I've got a lot of other stuff to do here. But letting that dry between coats now is going to be critical. I don't want to have a bunch of primer that hasn't outgassed underneath my paint job, even if this takes an extra day, because there was so much work stripping this tank down. To jeopardize it now or try to rush through it, not happening. So while Pokie's stuff is drying, guess what comes in the mail? Oh my God. Karen, you could not have better timing, because I want that to dry between coats. But I want to tell a quick story while I'm opening this up and doing unboxing. I had a Ryobi weed whacker for many, many years. Dead reliable, worked like a charm. everything was perfect. After X amount of years, and I don't remember how many years, probably 5 or 6, the batteries start going dead, and I said, and the weed whackers. So I bought a whole brand new one. What I did, I bought the whole thing. I found one on sale at Amazon and bought it. Wow, great. I got a brand new weed whacker. And I charged the battery, I plugged the battery in, I hit the switch, and the thing caught fire. And I mean, it stunk up the house like when the ballast in a fluorescent went bad. And it wouldn't stop smoking. Even after I took the battery out, smoke was coming out of it. So I called them up and they said, oh, it's no problem at all. I'll just return it. Well, yeah, I returned it, but then my son-in-law Rob wanted a weed whacker for his birthday. He does his own landscaping just like I do. And what happened is I bought him one. It worked perfectly. So this time around, I wanted something better. So what I did, I went, I had Karen actually did it. We went on and looked at reviews of weed whackers. And there's 40-volt weed whackers. And I guess this is like the, it's 80 volts. It's not 40. There's 18, 40, and 80 volt. So I figured I'd take a chance, see if this one catches fire or gas-like power or whatever. Now, I'm convinced the future of weed whackers and lawnmowers and things is going to be battery. So I ought to get familiar with it anyway, but let me just see. I like to do an unboxing because I'm going to be using, I use this thing like I use sandpaper, so. And by the way, just for reference, I've been mentioning this every day. Alan Millyard, the British guy and he is brilliant. I have enjoyed so many of his videos now. I feel like I'm a fan, like I'm one of these groupies or something. But anyway, what I watched last night, he made a motorcycle with a 10-cylinder Viper engine. And then they went 207, I think, kilometers. I don't know. Doesn't really matter. It's so cool if it never went that fast. So anyway, but this is the Alan Millyard of, look at the crap they put in here. I guess just to make it possible to ship. But I will use this on my next landscaping thing, and of course there's some assembly required, like a Lego set here anyway. And I know several of my friends that do their own landscaping would probably be interested in this, knowing this, if this works out great. Now, the reason Karen calls it the Beast, she went online and looked at all the reviews of all the weed whackers. And when we got to this one, the first guy that reviewed it said, I'm a landscaper and it's a beast. So I'm going to put this all together, give it a try later today. Oh, it looks real nice. Owner's manual, don't eat the battery, don't put your nose in the string, whatever. But here's the thing. And this is like the Alan Millyard engine. 80 volts. I can't wait to run this thing. I can't wait to go chop some weeds down. God, this thing really is a beast. It's probably twice as heavy as the Ryobi too. But that looks like a real beast. 80 volts. I can't wait. I can't wait to see how this runs. This is pretty cool. The charger, I plugged the charger in. It has a cooling fan like an R1. When you pull up to a light, it starts overheating. Maybe we could use that fan on a bike or something. Anyway, there we are. I can't wait to give this a try in the next day or so. And one final tip, and this has saved my bacon more than once. Whenever I buy something like this, I use it for quite a while before I throw the box away, because here's the good news. When you buy something from Amazon, they take it back. It's unbelievable. So I have returned many things, GoPro cameras, everything. They take it back without a hiccup. So of course you don't want to go through all the aggravation of returning it, but if with anything electronic, there's always that possibility the beast will be defective, and if it is, it goes right back to Amazon. Now while the beast is charging up, we're getting some good dry time here. We should have no problem getting 3 coats of primer on this. And actually the sun is coming out now, so that'll help. And we're definitely up over 40 degrees right now, so the temperature is in our favor, and it won't matter now what it does, because that's no matter what, we'll get the third coat on and that'll dry overnight. Okay, the third coat should go on beautifully so far. Just couldn't be nicer. Weather's played in our favor today. Did not expect that. And I think the next time we get to work on this, it's just going to be the silver. Putting the silver and the clear on will be a one-day thing. All right, we've got a full 3 coats on there. That couldn't have gone any better. That really worked out great. And the weather, I didn't expect the weather to be this good. The weather, they was predicting rain, but we got a little bit of sun, which helped our cause. And absolutely, this is going to be a beautiful tank when it's done. I just hope all that rust inside somehow doesn't come back to bite you in the ass. Now, before I quit for the day, I just want to say I took a look around. This is drying up beautifully. The next time we get a day to work on it, we should be able to finish the silver and the clear. But there's one thing I've learned for sure, and I know people, there's a counterpoint to this, so I don't need to argue about it. I just do it my way. I like to let the primer dry overnight. I know you don't have to, and I've done it without waiting, and it doesn't seem any different, but my old school from working on models for so many years where the paint had to outgas, and you always had a better result if you let it outgas. So we're going to put this in the garage, and we're basically done for the day here. And I'm going to take the beast out and start weed whacking our backyard with Karen. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope Pokey enjoys his tank. And thank you to all the heroes, the healthcare worker heroes that are making it possible for us to paint Pokey's tank. And thanks for watching.